Hello and welcome to Publisher Spotlight, and I'm so delighted to be here today with Mary Richards, who is the publisher of Agnes and Aubrey. So Mary, welcome to Publisher Spotlight, and we're so glad you're here. And tell us a little bit about your books that are coming out this fall.
Hi there. Oh, it's so great to be here. Thank you. I'm coming here to talk to you about these three books that are coming out in the Take Me series. We've got Take Me to Museums, Take Me on Vacation, and Take Me Home. And I'll talk about all three in turn, I guess. But basically, these books are great for getting kids interactive out in the world. They're a mix between an activity book and a journal, and there's all sorts of fun activities inside them.
Yeah, and they're perfect for independent learners too. Can you tell me a little bit about how the books came to be and what the genesis was for them?
Yeah, so first of all, I have four kids of my own, including 9-year-old twins, and yeah, they're all quite close together. And this is the kind of book that I just dreamed up because I thought it would be so useful to be able to have a book that actually encouraged you to go on adventures and journeys together. So for example, the first one we thought of was Take Me to Museums, and in the book it's got space for 5 separate adventures, they're called, or trips. So the idea is that once you've been on one, you've got 4 in the book waiting to be filled. So, you know, when you're at a loss of what to do, you say, oh, you know, let's go and fill in another chapter of your book, and you could use it as a diary in that way. So once that museum one came about, and it really seemed to work, we thought that would be a great idea for vacation as well. So instead of one book that you just use and then finish with on one trip, you've got space for 5 different trips that you can keep filling it in every time. And it asks and prompts you to fill in different questions and think about things on each trip that makes it quite special.
That's great. And the thing I love about it is it's not just, you know, a question and filling it in. It also gives you information about different types of buildings. So there's a lot of factual information and history in the books as well.
Definitely. And my background is in non-fiction publishing, and I've written a lot of books that aren't activity books in the past. So filling it with facts was something that came really natural to me. But I also really love the idea of a book that you don't actually realize you're learning as you're going through the book. You're picking up little interesting bits of information along the way, and that's the best way of learning, isn't it?
It is. And one of the things I love about the books is that they can be used, yes, they can be used when you actually go to the museum, but you can also do it with a virtual museum visit and when you're visiting and traveling as well. So can you tell me a little bit about how that might work?
Yeah, well, we were thinking quite hard about it, and of course what is great as a result of the pandemic that we're in at the moment, not very many great things, but one great thing is that there's so much information online, and so many museums are now have allowed cameras in and have really filmed their collections. And even when you go onto museum websites, you can actually start and take a tour, a virtual tour, right away. So we thought that it would be great if there was a way you could use the book to do that as well and record those trips as if they were actual trips, and that would be a nice way of getting to see a museum. For example, there's some facts in the book about the Frida Kahlo museum in Mexico City. Now, I've actually never been there, I've always wanted to, but now you can go onto the website and you can actually take a really great tour around the home and the gardens that you read about in Take Me to Museums, and it's of course not as good as being there, but it's actually pretty good.
It's not limited to one specific kind of museum either, right? It can be lots of different kinds of museums.
No, there's a checklist. So when you enter the museum, on every page, so you have your first adventure, don't know if you can see that, and you have getting started, and then there's a list of questions. So all museums are different, and you have to circle which kind of museum you're in. So you might be in a museum that is somebody's collection. Maybe it's art, but maybe it's objects. It could be a collection of cars or a collection of sculpture or anything. And then, but you might be in a history of a city or a group of people or a person. There's all kinds of different museums, and all of them will be reflected in the book. So you could literally go to any museum in the world, and you take the book with you. Yeah.
Well, that sounds perfect. Now, I know you said something about the pandemic creating opportunities in a way that you may not have anticipated, which brings us to another book that you've had that you just recently are releasing, or you're about to release here, and that's Take Me Home?
So it's Take Me Home, yeah. So this is the brand, the newest of the three, although they're all being launched at the same time this fall in the States. So Take Me Home, we had already had this idea. In fact, it was my daughter's idea, Take Me Home. But we wrote it this year quite quickly and produced it because it just seemed like the natural next title in the series, for sure. And I had all my kids at home with me while this was being written, but they were very helpful. Actually, we kind of mapped out the activities, and they helped participate. So with this one, the idea is that you complete all the activities in your home, but it's really very specifically looking at your own home in a different light. So the chapters, instead of being divided into different themes or zones or parts of a vacation, they're divided into the different zones of a house. So you've got your living spaces, your sleeping spaces, a section about the inside and the outside of your house, so or flat, and you've got different things that you can complete and fill out. So it's very much about learning to look at the space that you are in every day, but you might not have really thought about it in this way before. So that's what we decided to do with our lockdown over here in London.
And you had a built-in audience you could test it all on, so.
We very much.
They don't get co-author credit?
They get a very big thank you, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. That works for sure. Now, these books have been out, some of these have been out in the UK for a little while. Have you had any surprising responses or feedback from kids that just delighted you so far as you've been doing these?
Yeah, we've had such a great response from kids, and that's really the nice thing about creating the book. Over here, we launched, first of all, Take Me to Museums, and I did a number of museum tours where we went and took a bunch of kids into a museum, took the first chapter of the book, and then completed it in the gallery. And that was really exciting to see how they responded to the questions and how they used it, because everyone will use it in a very different way, of course. We also have had some sessions in schools, and I've taken both the books and some worksheets that I've made from some of the activities in the books, and taken them into classrooms and used them as a prompt for working with kids in the classroom. So they've really engaged with the content, and it's actually just one of the most wonderful things is working directly with the kids and seeing what they do. Yeah,
and these are so cross-curricular too. It isn't just art or geography or history. It's bringing all these different things together and thinking about your space. Also technology and design, and so it's perfect for today's environment where we're having to figure out new ways to do virtual learning in a lot of
there's something about everything, and hopefully there's something for everyone, and they're very gentle, you know. They're not you just go through, and you don't really realize that you're
that you're learning
in some cases. Yeah,
that's wonderful. And they're available here in the States in late October and early November. So be sure to be on the lookout for them. They'll be widely available here. And Mary, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy evening, because you're 6 hours ahead of us here, and talking
Yeah.
to us today about your Take Me to Museums, Take Me Home, and Take Me on Vacation. So we didn't really talk about much about Take Me on Vacation, but here's my hope for everybody who's watching this, is that you get to have a vacation at some point and you get to use this book.
That's for sure. Yeah, yeah. No, that would be really good. And also with vacation, it's a diary as well of any kind of any vacation in the loosest sense. You know, a weekend at a friend's is.
Right. This can really help kids get started on journaling for themselves too. So that's another hidden benefit of this series. Well, thank you so much, Mary. We'll let you go. Have a great day, and thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much.